If you've been checking your phone every morning hoping your priority date moved forward, what I'm about to tell you might be frustrating. But stay with me, because understanding exactly what just happened in the March 2026 Visa Bulletin could be the difference between wasting months or being ready the moment your number is called. Right now, thousands of families are stuck in what feels like immigration limbo. You filed years ago. You've been patient. You've done everything right, and yet, every month, the movement feels like inches when you need miles. The March 2026 bulletin just dropped, and for many of you, especially those waiting in the F2A category or stuck in the India and China employment backlogs, the news isn't what you hoped for. But before you panic or give up, let me walk you through what actually happened, what it means for your case, and most importantly, what you need to do right now. I'm your guide through the U.S. immigration system, and this channel exists for one reason: to cut through the rumors and give you verified information you can actually use. While social media is full of noise and random predictions, we're looking at the official text from the Department of State. We're analyzing the numbers, the trends, and the patterns that matter. Now, before we go further, I need to be clear. I'm an analyst helping you understand the system, but this is educational content, not legal advice. Always consult an immigration attorney for your specific case. Your situation has details that need professional eyes on it. So let's talk about what just happened. The State Department released the March 2026 Visa Bulletin, and the first thing everyone wants to know is simple. Did my category move? For those of you in F2A, that's the family-based second preference category for spouses and minor children of green card holders. The answer is complicated. The final action date for F2A in March 2026 has moved, but we're talking about weeks, not months. We're looking at movement of roughly 2 to 3 weeks from the February bulletin. If your priority date was already close, this might be enough. But if you're still months or years behind, this feels like nothing. Here's why this matters. The F2A category has been dealing with massive backlogs since late 2024. The demand is simply outpacing supply. There are only so many visas allocated to this category each fiscal year, and when you have tens of thousands of families waiting, small movements are all we get during the middle of the fiscal year. And yes, we are in the middle. The fiscal year runs from October to September, which means March sits right in the second quarter. Historically, this is when movement slows down. The State Department is being conservative because they don't want to run out of visas before September. But this is where it gets complicated, and most people miss this. You need to understand the difference between Chart A and Chart B. Chart A is called the final action dates. This tells you when you can actually receive your green card. Chart B is called the dates for filing. This tells you when you can submit your adjustment of status application, your I-485, even if you're not getting the card yet. For March 2026, USCIS has kept Chart B open for most family-based categories, but they've added restrictions. If you're filing based on Chart B, you can get your application in, you can submit your medicals, you can start the process, but you won't get approved until your priority date is current under Chart A. Let me make this practical. If your priority date is March 15, 2022, and Chart B for F2A shows April 1, 2022, you can file your I-485 now. But if Chart A is still showing February 15, 2022, you're not getting your green card yet. You're in line, but you're waiting for final adjudication. This is critical because a lot of people think filing means approval. It doesn't. It means you're in the system. Now let's talk about employment-based categories, because this is where the frustration is hitting hard. EB2 and EB3 for India and China have barely moved. We're talking days, not weeks. For India in the EB2 category, the final action date moved forward by approximately 1 week. 1 week after a full month of waiting. If you're from India or China, and you've been in this backlog for years, you already know the pain. But let me explain why this is happening. India and China are subject to per-country caps. No single country can receive more than 7% of the total employment-based visas in a year. Sounds fair on paper, but when the demand from India and China is 10 times higher than the supply, you get these massive backlogs. Meanwhile, if you're from the rest of the world, the EB2 and EB3 categories are current or moving significantly faster. It's not fair, but it's the law as it's written right now. There have been talks about removing per-country caps, but as of today, nothing has passed Congress. For EB3, The situation is similar. India is seeing movement of about 5 to 7 days. China is slightly better with 2 weeks, but still painfully slow. If you're in these categories, your strategy has to shift. You can't just wait and hope. You need to explore every legal option. Some people are looking at porting their priority dates to different categories. Others are considering EB1 if they qualify. Some are even looking at consular processing versus adjustment of status to see if there's any advantage. These are conversations you need to have with your attorney now, not later. Stay with me, because the next point affects your timeline directly. A lot of people are asking, why is movement so slow right now? Is this going to continue? The answer lies in understanding the fiscal year cycle. From October to December, we usually see slightly better movement because the State Department is working with a fresh allocation of visas. From January to June, movement slows down because they're pacing themselves. They don't want to approve too many cases too quickly and run out of visas before the fiscal year ends in September. Then from July to September, especially in September, we sometimes see a surge because the State Department wants to use up all available visas before they expire. So if you're waiting for significant movement, don't expect it until late summer or early fall of 2026. That's when we might see the bulletin jump forward. Until then, we're in the slow grind. It's frustrating, I know. But understanding the rhythm helps you plan. It helps you manage expectations and avoid the emotional roller coaster of checking the bulletin every month and feeling crushed. Let's look at the facts, not the fear. A lot of rumors are flying around right now. Some people are saying the backlogs will never clear. Others are saying new legislation is about to fix everything overnight. Neither is true. The backlogs are real, and they're not disappearing this year. But they're also not permanent. Every month cases move. Every month people get their green cards. It's slower than it should be, but it's happening. And as for legislation, yes, there are proposals in Congress. Yes, some of them would help. But until a bill is signed into law, we can't count on it. We plan with the system we have, not the system we wish we had. Now let me give you a real example to make this concrete. Take a family where the primary applicant is a green card holder who petitioned for their spouse and children under F2A. They filed in early 2022. Their priority date is March 2022. For the last 2 years, they've been watching the bulletin inch forward. In March 2026, the final action date finally crosses into March 2022. Their date is current. This is the moment they've been waiting for. But here's what happens next. If they already filed their I-485 using Chart B months ago, USCIS will start processing their case for final approval. If they haven't filed yet, they need to move immediately. Get the medical exam done. Gather the supporting documents. Submit the application. Because if they wait and the date retrogresses next month, they miss the window. This is why you need to be ready before your date is current. Most applicants miss this specific detail. They wait for the date to become current, then they scramble to get everything together. By the time they're ready, the date has moved backward, and they're stuck again. Don't let that be you. Here's what you need to do right now. First, check your priority date against both Chart A and Chart B for your category in the March 2026 bulletin. If you're within 6 months of being current, start preparing immediately. That means scheduling your medical exam, gathering your financial documents, getting your employment verification letters, and consulting with your attorney about filing strategy. Second, if you're in an employment-based category from India or China, have a serious conversation with your lawyer about whether you have any options to accelerate your case. Maybe you qualify for a different category. Maybe there's a strategy you haven't considered. Don't assume your only option is to wait. Third, set a reminder for when the April 2026 bulletin drops. This usually happens around the 8th to the 12th of the preceding month. Don't rely on random posts. Go directly to the State Department's official website. And here's something else. If your priority date is current or about to be current, make sure your medical form I-693 is prepared and sealed by a civil surgeon. This form is only valid for 2 years from the date of the exam, so timing matters. If you did your medical 3 years ago, you'll need to redo it. If you haven't done it at all, don't wait. Get it done now so when your date is current, you can file immediately. I also want to address the people who are years away from being current. I know this is hard. I know it feels like the system is broken. And in many ways, it is. But giving up isn't the answer. Use this time strategically. If you're on a work visa, focus on career growth. Some of you might become eligible for EB-1 with the right achievements. If you're waiting for family sponsorship, make sure all your documents are updated and accurate. The worst thing you can do is reach your current date and find out there's an error in your petition that delays everything. One more thing before we wrap up. There's a lot of talk about what might happen in the next few months. Will the backlogs improve? Will new policies change the game? Honestly, no one knows for certain. But what we do know is that immigration policy can shift quickly. We've seen it happen before. One executive order, one agency memo, one court decision can change processing times, change priorities, change everything. The only way to stay protected is to stay informed. That's why this channel exists. We monitor every bulletin, every policy update, every change that affects your case. We break it down so you don't have to spend hours reading legal documents and government websites. If you're serious about your immigration journey, subscribe now. Turn on notifications. Because the next update could be the one that changes your timeline. The next video could answer the exact question you've been asking. Don't leave your future to chance. Stay connected, stay informed, and stay ready. The March 2026 bulletin might not have brought the movement you wanted, but it's part of the process. Your green card is coming. Your patience will pay off. Just make sure when your moment arrives, you're prepared to act.